Good evening, everybody. I'm very excited to be talking to you today about cell performance. My name is Shoshana Chaim. I'm a wellness coach. I'm a mom. I live in Toronto, and I have been using the products from this company for quite a while. I'll tell you a little bit about my story towards the end, and I'm very, very excited about these cell performance sachets, these cell performance packs that have come out in the last little while, and I know that everybody who has tried them for the last quite a bit of time has been getting amazing results. So I would love to have the opportunity to teach them to you today. They're 3 different boxes. They are color coded, and they're really there's so much in this box. It is absolutely incredible. So the red one is Redox Mind. That's going to help with focus, that's going to help with staying on task, all kinds of great things. Redox Energy, and that's the yellow one, and I think that kind of speaks for itself. That's the one that I had today, this afternoon. I took an energy, I had a very early morning. And Redox Mood. And Redox Mood is something that is really, really changing people's quality of life in such wonderful ways. So I'm very excited to talk to you about what these are today. All right. So what is really important to understand is that these are powered by redox principles. So what does that mean? And what we're really concentrating on here is the ingredients that are inside of each of these packets are formulated specifically for certain areas of the body. We have our mind, we have our mood, we have our hormones, we have our energy. Different parts of our body are working, and I think that we could attest that our different parts of our body work better on certain days than others. And this is a way to say, how do we take this natural redox that's being made in our cells every single day, and how do we use it to turn on the dimmers in various parts of our body? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the integrity of the ingredients in just a minute. And they have put different ingredients together to be able to really ignite these parts of the body. And effective dosing is what really has caught my attention, because being in the health world for quite a while, I understand that there are certain companies that are taking ingredients and putting sprinkles of it into these products so that when it gets tested, it could show that it's there, and they could say that it's there on the packaging, which gives them a boost in sales. This is not the values of ASEA. This is not within the integrity of ASEA. What ASEA has done is they've gone and researched every single ingredient, and they have then taken that dose of these scientifically proven ingredients to help in these various areas of the body, and use the same amount of dosing that was used to get those results in those research that was done originally. So they're not cutting corners here at all. And then they have also tested these products with a sensory panel, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But what's really important to remember, once again, is they sat with their values, they sat with integrity, and everybody who tested these products with the sensory panel were people who were not on the makeshift product of ASEA. They didn't even know what company they were trying these products from. They just put themselves up for science, drank what they were told to drink, and recorded and reported on what happened next. So that's really important, and I wanted to make sure that you understand the integrity of these products. So I talked about different parameters being used for these redox ingredients. So basically, each redox ingredient needed to check off 2 boxes within these 4 categories. It couldn't just be something that helped your brain health. It couldn't be just something that helped your body recover. It had to check off 2 boxes minimum. And in some cases, it checked off 3 boxes. So we're talking about gene regulation. Our genes have the ability to turn on and off. This was turning the process on so the bodies could work properly. Cell protection was really important. Adjustment and recovery to specific to specific things that were happening within the body, and adaptive response. So those were the categories where each of these ingredients had to check a minimum of 2 of these categories. And they went through thousands and thousands of different ingredients that they have seen in research, that they have seen other companies using. But if it didn't, even if it was amazing, but it didn't check 2 boxes or more, they did not use it. They wanted to make sure that when we took this little packet and put it into our water, that we were getting what we need to be getting. So the first one that I want to talk about a little bit more is Redox Energy. So this is a special formulation, and all of the products here are kind of nootropics or adaptogens, and these are ingredients and plants that grow naturally within the world that are helping the brain to work properly, that are helping oxidative stress. And a lot of them grow in areas of the world that it almost seems impossible to have plants grow. So we're talking about deserts, we're talking about dry land, we're talking about icy land. They've looked at different plants that have adjusted to their areas so that our bodies can adjust as well. So the Redox Energy formulation has guarana, okay? And that provides energy to alert the cellular functioning in the body and allow for balance. And this is a caffeine source. So there is caffeine in this, but it is not the same as roasted caffeine like we have in a coffee cup. And it actually has less caffeine than a coffee, but has a nice, I wouldn't say a jolt, but a nice upward spiral of energy that allows you to maintain it. And what people are finding is that they're not getting jittery at all. The L-theanine shows focus and mood boosting properties, and it really helps protect the brain. Often we see vitamin B in different products, but we don't often see vitamin B3, and that supports the body's natural energy levels and helps protect the cells as well. The ginseng extract combats oxidative stress. So think about cutting a banana or an apple, leaving it out on the counter and it getting brown. We don't want our cells to brown. So the ginseng helps to fight against that happening in our body so that we can have better energy output. And the other B12s also support the body's natural energy level. So I talked earlier about a panel, and this panel was done by Kantar Group. And this is a very, very well-known testing company. Like I said, the people taking the products didn't know what they were getting. They weren't told this is for energy. What do you think? They kind of eliminated all the opportunity for placebo. 82% of people reported that they experienced increased levels of energy, and 76% of people felt that it provides good for you energy. So they weren't feeling jolty, they weren't feeling jittery, they were still able to drive their cars and all of that. So I think that that is really, really great. And what I'm seeing from people is amazing results. This is Lorianne, and she said she'd never been able to drink energy drinks before, but she loves Redox Energy. It gave her sustained energy without a crash, which is really important. And it had a refreshing taste. It actually does have a very nice citrus taste. Beth says for the last 11 years, she drank a Chinese herbal tea to get her going in the morning. And this one tastes better and is more cost effective. Donna Lynn, she's a midwife. She's taken care of babies and mamas for such a long time. So her sleep schedule has never been normal. She says it replaced her afternoon iced coffee. It's healthier, it's less calories, and it gives her that subtle, gentle lift like I talked about. And then we have Paula. So Paula here on the right, she has gone through a couple of different surgeries this year and was having a very hard year. She absolutely loves it. It's made a huge difference in her life. And after a year of various operations, she was struggling to get her energy back and she had to nap. And now that she's drinking it, she doesn't need to nap. And Lynette's here as well. So I think it would be nice to hear from somebody who's taken it, who's right here on the call today. Lynette, do you mind sharing a little bit about your energy experience, Redox Energy experience?
Certainly. I have never been one for energy drinks. In fact, I don't know when I've ever had one. And I also don't consume very much caffeine. But recently I had traveled and actually had flown for the first time, like many people, in the last few years. So I got home and it was a Monday morning and I had so many things I needed to go to the grocery. And I'm like, I can't possibly get in the car and go somewhere. I just wanted to stay home. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to try Redox Energy and I need to see how well this works. So I drank a bottle and in no time I was out the door and I didn't have any jitterness. I didn't have any adverse reaction to it. It just gave me a really good sense of energy and I can get done what I need to do. And even it was 10:30 at night and I'm like, oh, what time is it? It's time to go to bed. Didn't have any problem sleeping whatsoever. So it's definitely my go-to.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And it's interesting because I'm going to talk about being away and coming back to you and a different package that I use. But when you talk about drinking a bottle, you mean you took the little packet and you emptied it into a water bottle and that's what you drank, which is great, which is perfect. And you mentioned that you didn't have any adverse effects. And I just wanted to point out that there's nothing synthetic in here. There's no artificial flavors. There's no artificial colors. There's no artificial sugars. There's just a little bit of stevia and there's no artificial preservatives, and everything else in here is actually just powdered down food. So there won't be any medical or medication type of reaction or anything like that. So thank you for bringing that up. Last one, Jerry and Marcia. So Marcia is an Ironman and she does a lot of biking. And I think that if any of you have done triathlon like I have, you can feel the difference when you're out on a training or when you're out on a race between whether you've had a good product or a bad product. And she says it felt like good, clean, long-lasting energy. She noticed the need for less bathroom breaks compared to other caffeinated products that she's used while training. And that just goes to show how easy it is on the system and the organs that it's not working overtime, which is absolutely wonderful. So the next one that I'd like to talk about is Redox Mind. Redox Mind is absolutely fabulous. It gives your brain a boost in 5 different key areas of the brain's performance. So focus, memory, clarity, sharper thinking, and overall brain health. So give me a little bit of a hands up, maybe a shy hands up, if you would like to have increase in one of those areas. I think after being on Zoom for so long, after not exercising necessarily the same way that we had been before 2 years ago, we're all kind of in this mind fog kind of funk sometimes, and it would be nice to have something to bring us out of there. So there's of course the main ingredients, and then there's supporting blend. So we have the NMN, and the NMN is supports against brain cell disruptions and helps your brain age in a very healthy way. And then there's a red orange complex, which I love. I call it a blood orange, but I love looking at these red oranges. And what it does is it helps to positively increase and regulate the glutathione in our body. We've all heard the word antioxidant. It helps the body and helps the cells to not age as quicker, to not break down as quicker. So it helps the body regulate the glutathione, which is the master antioxidant within the body. And it's especially great for recognition and memory. I'm just going to pause there a little bit because I think we've all forgotten our keys, but I think that we've all experienced, if with a family member or someone we know, some other major health and major brain situations as well. So keeping in mind that there's things out there that we can try and that can help support the body as well. There's zinc that helps manage the brain's chemicals, shortens the response time for mental stress, and helps us stay focused and helps everything kind of stay a little bit sharper. And the nootropic blend. A nootropic is basically foods that help our brain function better and helps us retrieve information that much better. And again, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, no artificial sugars, no artificial period. In the testing, 86% experienced an increase in focus and task on hand. 84% felt the cognitive performance was enhanced. 82% felt that they were more focused and accomplished more. And 80% of participants felt that Redox Mind assisted with mental clarity. Here we are with Donna Lynn again. And the reason why I like to do this is because it's so short and she didn't ramble on. It kept her squirrel brain on task. And I can definitely relate to the squirrels sometimes. Alyssa is a mom of 2 young kids and she runs her own business and she feels her mind is in 50 different places at once. But when she drank the Redox Mind, it allowed her to stay on target with specific tasks, focus for longer, and execute the tasks without disruption. Pepper Black, for the last 5 days, she's been drinking Redox Mind before tackling some lengthy computer work. So she found that she was much more focused, on point, stayed on task, and she loves the taste. And this is a berry flavor. And we do put anywhere, but it says to put anywhere between 8 and 12 ounces of water. I like to put 14 ounces of water. We don't want to over dilute it. But for me, that's where the taste is just perfect. Barbie Bassett, she is a TV personality. And so she gets up at 3:15 a.m. and she normally has a slump by 10, which is more like our 3 or 4 o'clock slump. So she used the Redox Mind and she noticed her mind quickly waking up again, her thoughts becoming clearer. She went back to doing another hour of work and she had no signs of brain fog or mental exhaustion. And I used the Redox Mind when I came back from Vegas just a couple of weeks ago. And the reason I bring up the Vegas part is not because it was Vegas. I didn't have too much fun in Vegas. I promise you that. But that's a 3-hour time difference for me here on the East Coast. So when I came home and went to bed late and had to get up and leave the house at 7 a.m. to get my kids to volleyball the next morning, I didn't really know if I was coming or going, and I ended up with some jet lag. So I decided to take the Redox Mind to focus my mind so that I would then still be able to sleep at a decent hour and get a good night's sleep that night. But I was on, and I had taken it right before going out for dinner and then had to come home to be on a presentation. And maybe I nailed the presentation, maybe I didn't, but I was definitely on and able to speak clearly and didn't feel like I did hours ago. My mind was clear, my mind was focused, and I wasn't distracted by everything else going on around me in the house. And Sherry's husband was experiencing short-term memory loss for a couple of years, and he got to the point where he couldn't recall a 3-word test given 15 to 30 minutes before. So basically you say 3 words and then 15 to 30 minutes later, he needs to repeat the words. After his first Redox Mind drink, he remembered the first word and he knew the letters of the 2 next words. So for her, that's huge. And what it can do for her and her family is really big. And when he remembered the words on day 3, all 3 of those words, she was crying. So that's the impact that these products are making. And it goes to show the research and the formulation and the integrity that the company had when they were putting it together. The last one now is Redox Mood. So Redox Mood helps to promote a feeling of calmness. It helps the brain and body move at a lower gear. It's not necessarily going to put you to sleep. You could definitely still drive your car and heavy machinery and all that, but it really helps you feel grounded and gets your system into a really big balanced state. It involves the protein production of important mood regulating hormones, and it supports the production of important neurotransmitters to uplift the mood. And it's got GABA, and it's got a lot of other great supporting mood blends as well. And the GABA enhances the neurotransmitters. So the communication in the brain is really, really important. And that's what's helping to regulate our mood, reduce the oxidative stress. Again, that's the browning of the apple, like I talked about, keeping that from happening within our cells. And it helps to improve overall balance of the nervous system. So this product also helps support elevated expression of redox enzymes to help regulate the mood. And then the blends are actually wonderful as well. It's got the ashwagandha, it's got the saffron extract, it's got other B vitamins as well. So we're supporting fighting stress for better sleep, improved overall mood, The body regulates the hormones and it induces relaxation. And again, not to the point where we are spread out on the couch and can't function, but to the point where we're balanced and where we're actually supposed to be. 81% of people experienced more relaxation. And again, these are the people that did not know what the products were at all. 80% experienced improved mood, and 77% felt that the Redox Mood helped them stay cool and calm. This is Aaron and Terry Latham, and Terry said after drinking Redox Mood, his thoughts were very clear and focused, and it felt really good. And if you know Terry, that speaks very loudly as well. Great guy, but he rambles, and also for a concise answer for him, that's huge as well. Matt and Christina Williams, they are married, but they live in 2 different continents, and she goes back and forth between her children and her husband, which is quite stressful on her. And she can go on the airplane and often be crying. And she said when she started drinking Redox Mood on the day of her flight, she had to say that she felt so chilled, very casual, relaxed, and in total control of her own mood. Ashley has struggled with social anxiety for her whole adult life. It leaves her heart racing, shortness of breath, and sometimes on the verge of tears. But when she drank the Redox Mood, she felt calm with a sense of bravery when she was faced with situations that would normally trigger her. And I think that if you've ever been in that situation where your body where you've cried or you've shook uncontrollably, or you haven't been able to control your emotions in a social situation, to be able to have control is just so empowering. So I'm so happy for her that she had that experience. Dr. Dick Walker and Nancy Walker. Nancy says that there are times where you have intense PMS, and it usually happens on a day where she has done a little bit too much the day before, and she was having one of those days, and she drank the Redox Mood, and it immediately took the edge off by at least 50%. She felt a lot calmer and a lot more relaxed. And Jim and Glenn, Jim says he feels that it left him feeling calmer, more relaxed in the evenings, and he slept deeply, experiencing very vivid dreams that he could actually remember. And we have Tina here. And Tina, I'd love for you to unmute yourself and share a little bit about what Redox Mood has done for you in these last few weeks.
Well, funny, we all have a different story coming back from convention, and that's when I turned to mood. So what happened was I came back from convention with a really great souvenir, COVID. So I found out about it I tested, and I was very overwhelmed, not because I had COVID, but, try to find a spot for my kids to go, figure out groceries. It was going to be my dad's birthday. I was going to miss that. It was my husband's 50th. We were supposed to I had everything ordered and so anyway, a lot of things got thrown, and I was really nervous, kind of angry. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take a mood. And it just took the edge off. I felt my anxiety just go down. I was calm and relaxed. And I took it quite a few days in a row after that. And it really just helped settle any nervous feelings I had.
Well, I hope that you're feeling better, and I'm glad that it made you feel better. And what I love about these products is that there are people who are going to take them every day because they're experiencing these feelings that you, me, Lynette, the other testimonials that I read experience every day on a daily basis. And when it compounds, they can see how it helps them in that manner. But for those of us who go and have a lot of good days, but then all of a sudden something hits us and we need something to turn to, instead of turning to the cupboard and sticking our hand in the cookie jar, instead of taking other kind of pharmaceuticals that we don't really want to, but we need to kind of figure out what are we going to do in this moment, to have these tools to go to help us through these situations are great. And wish your dad happy birthday for me, Tina.
Thank you.
The last one, Irv and Marianne, Redox gives me the strong, secure feeling of a settled calmness with no anxiety. It seems to switch on that part of my brain that makes me smile inside and out. So I encourage you all to take a little smile right now. Feel your smile on the outside, and hopefully it will seep into the inside. And who doesn't want a smile in a bottle? I think that we can all do with a smile in a bottle. Again, I just want to reiterate that Cell Performance does not contain artificial flavors, colors, sugars, and preservatives. My family and I, quite a while ago, experienced a little bit of a health scare, and we made this conscious effort to eliminate as many toxins as possible from our life. And when we are taking something that could possibly help us, to make sure that there wasn't other things in it that our body would have to then spend its energy system kind of fixing. So I feel really good. So this is Shoshana approved, for whatever that's worth, for those of you watching. There's also no added sugar, no gluten. They're dairy-free, soy-free, and GMO-free. And if anybody is wondering if it's plant-based or vegan, it absolutely is, or I would not be giving this presentation right now. That's really important to me as well. So again, we have, oh, and I didn't tell you, it's a tropical flavor for the Mood, which is actually my favorite one. It was a citrus flavor for the Energy and a berry flavor for the Mind. And for those of you that know a little bit about ASEA and the company that created this, you know that there is the blue bottle, the redox molecules, and those redox molecules that have been made into a gel as well that we could apply topically. And that is basically the communication between cells that we're already making inside of our cells. Every 10 years, we make 10% less of this. And that's the natural aging process. That's why our children, their skin's a little bit tighter, or their cuts heal a little bit faster, or they have a little bit more energy than us. And as we age, that kind of fades away. But at the same time, with added toxins in our life, added stress in our life, mold in the wall, sprays on our food, our body starts to break down at a much faster pace, leaving us vulnerable to genetic issues and all kinds of diseases. But when we can increase that redox by drinking what's inside this bottle, and there's no other way to do it, then we're able to create more communication between our cells. So if I've obviously watched too many movies, but if you're sharing a hotel room and there's adjoining rooms with you and your family, and somebody knocks at the door and they're coming because they want to get inside your safe, and you figure that out, you're not going to just keep the door shut. You're also going to knock on the two adjoining doors to you and let them know, hey, don't answer the door. There's something threatening out there. Or if there's something good out there that you want, you're going to say, hey, open the door. Let's take the gifts. So that's the communication that you have as a family. And we have the same communication that goes on in the body. And that's basically on a very fast level what's inside this blue bottle. And you do not need to be drinking these redox molecules to get the benefits from these Cell Performance sachets and drinks. But what happens is these are all redox powered ingredients. So what they do is they work with the redox that we already have in our body to make our body function that much better. So the redox is kind of like the electrical circuits going through the house, and then all of these different areas of our body are on dimmers, and the Cell Performance is what turns on those dimmers to help us perform so much better and reach our potential in those areas. And that is the Cell Performance in a nutshell, in about 30 minutes exactly. So I would love to open it up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. But if you have any questions, please feel free to either unmute yourself or put them in the chat, and I'm happy to answer them.
Specifically on mood, have you had any experience or heard anything about children using this with anxiety or autism?
So Mood is actually the one that I'm hearing about being used with children the most of younger ages. Teenagers, definitely the Mood and also the Mind. But yes, so I just want to put out there that all of the testing that was done on 18 years plus. And I have the responsibility to tell you that. However, we are using these products with many young children, and the results that are coming back are great. And we're actually hearing that kids kids feel like themselves again. Kids on the spectrum are able to communicate more and able to feel a real, what one child communicated to their parents, that they feel different and they feel like all the other children. How we know how other people feel, we don't, but that's the perception that's happening there, that they actually feel very well. So yes, I would definitely say, look at the size of your child and decide, do they need a full packet? Do they need a half packet or maybe a third packet? Start small and work your way up from there. We don't need to be giving more than what's needed, only because why do more when you can get the results and benefits that you need with what's already given? Yeah, thank you for that question. Orly, your hand is up.
Yes. So with a kid, let's say, a teenager with attention deficit disorder, would you give them mood or would you give them mind for school?
That's a great question. So if it were my child, what I would do is I would take a few days and I would give one of them. And then I would wait the weekend. And then I would take the next few days of school and I would give the other one. And I would observe them and I would ask them some questions and see how they do and how they feel. However, if it were also my child, I would know what their symptoms were and what's hindering them from achieving their best potential also. And then in that moment decide, do they need more focus or do they need their anxiety brought down? What's going on there too. So I would analyze the child, and if I couldn't analyze the child, then I would do what I said first. I would try them both out and have a conversation with the child around how they feel and how they focus with their teacher and notice what's going on at home as well. For $50 US to be able to get one box of 30 packets, I think it's well worth the investment to invest in both and see where to go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Are there any other questions?
I have one. How about, has anybody ever experienced mixing the mood and mind together?
Great question. Great question. So I need to say that we do not recommend that you take all three at the same time. The energy is obviously bringing your energy levels up. The mind is also kind of working on an energy level as well to help you stay focused, but the mood is working in a relaxation kind of state. So I don't recommend mixing the mood and the mind together because there's kind of a counter effect happening there. What people are getting really great benefits from is mixing the energy and the mind at the same time, especially if they're working later in the day, need to stay very focused. Maybe they were online like I was at 6 a.m. this morning and need to make sure that they're presenting at 8 p.m. at night. That would be a really great mixture. Some people are mixing half a packet and half a packet and seeing how that goes for them. And then the next time a full packet and a full packet and seeing where their balance is. And again, like I said earlier, you want to be mixing somewhere between 8 to 14 ounces of water with the packet. And also what's really important is that you consume, once you take your first sip, you want to consume it all within 15 minutes because you need to saturate the body with the right amounts of the ingredients. And like I said, they went back to the original research of how this is helping the body and how much. And that's what they've based their ingredients on. So you want to make sure that you're getting it in the system and that it's not too watered down with too much water as well. Good question, David. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Orly?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that actually when I took it, I really wanted to feel the effects. I didn't really like that much the flavor. And I put it in I don't know, it's like 16 ounce, the half a liter bottle of water. And I kept adding water. So I did not take all of it within like 15 minutes. I took it within like 2 hours, sipping, and trying to get it. And I still had the effect. I had half of the bottle initially, and that was enough to give me a kick.
Yeah, so I think that that's where it comes back to. Everybody needs to kind of try it out themselves and see what works for them. And it also depends on the state of redox that you have within your body. I know that you're somebody who drinks redox already, so I could only imagine that that was your experience, but possibly somebody who's depleted in redox within the body, because these are redox potential ingredients. We all have redox, but when our redox are at level, it's able to get to work that much faster and use it that much more effectively. And I also, personally, I like the flavor of all of them, especially at the 14 ounces, but I have heard of some people who weren't fond of it the first time. Maybe it was a little bit too tart, or maybe it was a little bit too sweet, but after they had it a couple of times, they warmed up to it, and it was well worth the results for them.
For sure.
Thanks. Karen?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so the question I had is, I know I think I've heard that you don't have to take it every day, just take it when you need it. But is there any restriction in terms of taking it more than once a day, for example?
So I know that there are people who take 2 of the packets a day. They don't take them at the same time. They take them at different times a day. So again, I would play around with what works for your body. And I know that Tina's very knowledgeable on the cell performance. Tina, do you have a different answer than to add to what I said?
No, that's pretty much what, yeah,
Yeah,
you got it.
yeah. And again, with anything, I would always, sometimes more isn't necessarily better. There is not going to be an adverse effect, but why waste it? Why put that pressure on the body when the body's already doing really well? So I would kind of space it out the same way that if you did want to have an energy and a mood in the same day, I would space it out by about 2-3 hours, because for some people like myself, 20 minutes and I could feel the difference. I feel it start to process. It's like you've preset the dishwasher to go on in an hour and just goes. That's what I feel like I'm doing in my body, but 20-25 minutes and I'm good to go. But for some people, it can take up to 2 hours. So I would say spread it out to 3 hours as well if you're using different ones throughout the day that you don't want to be mixing. Good question. Thank you.
You.
Great. Any other questions before we take off for today? All right. Well, if you do have any questions, please feel free to speak to the person who invited you here. I have put in the chat that hopefully you can copy and paste, or hopefully you could save some of the links to some important information about these products, as well as the ingredient list. And if it's something that you are interested in, please feel free again to reach out to the person who invited you here, and they can help navigate you and help you try these out. And I would love to hear all of your experiences. So if you want to find Shoshana Chaim on Facebook and send me your experience, I would really appreciate it. But for sure, share that experience with the person who introduced you to cell performance. And thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful night.